Former FBI Director James Comey testified before the Senate Intelligence Committee today.
The William and Mary grad answered questions about his conversations with President Trump on the FBI's investigation of Russian involvement in the 2016 presidential election. In his opening remarks, Comey said President Trump's explanations for his firing didn't make sense. Comey said what he heard in the media did not match what the president told him.
Comey also said he believes he was fired to change the way the Russia investigation was being conducted.
I think the president had his word that I was fired because of the Russia investigation. Something about the way I was conducting it, the president felt created pressure on him that he wanted to relieve. Again, I didn't know that at the time, but I've watched his interview. I've read the press accounts of his conversations, so I take him at his word there. Now, look, I could be wrong. Maybe he's saying something that's not true, but I take him at his word, at least based on what I know now.
Virginia Senator Mark Warner started today's hearing by saying this is not a witch hunt, but an effort to protect our country from a new threat. His
closing remarks echoed that idea.
And we're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to get the facts out. The American people deserve to know. There's the questions around implications of Trump officials and the Russians, but there's also the macro issue of what the Russians did and continue to do. And I think it is very important that all Americans.
Now, people in D.C. lined up to get inside for today's hearing, and those who couldn't get a seat went to watch parties.
ABC's Maggie Rulli shows us the response to one of the most explosive hearings in years on Capitol Hill.
Americans are obsessing over the congressional testimony of the former FBI Director James Comey. Outside the hearing, hundreds wait in line from the break of dawn for the chance to get just one of the 90 seats in the hearing room. And across America, people watching the event in homes, offices, and bars. At Shaw's Tavern in D.C., it looked like a sporting event. A crowd eating, drinking, watching it all unfold on big screen TVs.
I'm just hoping to get some truth and peel back another layer in the Senate of the administration.
Reacting to key moments of the testimony with applause and outbursts of approval.
It's sort of that moment that might be really important for our democracy, and it's kind of fun to have the opportunity to do it with other people.
In Houston, it was standing room only at Axelrad Bar.
We've never opened in the morning.
A mixed crowd of patrons with different opinions.
I feel like it's almost living in the Twilight Zone type of era.
Unless someone else that was in the interview corroborates his notes are absolutely worthless.
And the testimony today?
Well, people lie under oath all the time.
And in New York.
I think it should be an important part, if we take our politics as an important part of our discourse.
We're really following this because it really affects our lives on a daily basis.
While those in LA took a more zen approach. One positive note we heard from people watching inside, that today's hearing got more Americans involved in politics. They said they hope that someday in the future political events like this will become as big of a deal as the Super Bowl. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
Well, across the globe, social media is filled with reaction to Comey's testimony. Brian Farrell joins us with a look at tweets from our political leaders.
As well as some other people, Regina. In fact, we noticed that the president was not active on Twitter today on his personal account. His son, however, Donald Trump Jr. was. He says, I'm pretty sure that Comey's testimony put his own character, in quotes, on trial. Leaks admitted. Weakness, Lynch double standard. Come on now. And he went on to say today's winners, and includes his dad's personal account right there at Real Donald Trump. He lists the losers as Comey, Loretta Lynch, hashtag mainstream media, especially the New York Times. Senator Tim Kaine says Comey's opening statement confirms a disturbing pattern of actions taken by the Trump administration leading up to and after his firing. Hashtag Comey Day. And then one other thing here from ABC News. This is the statement that was released by President Trump's attorney. He does say that the lawyer accused Comey of unauthorized disclosures of privileged communications he had with the president. The statement also said the president never directed Comey to stop investigating anyone. Regina, back to you.
Thanks, Brian. We have more team coverage of Comey's hearing coming up in the next half hour. We will talk to a former FBI agent, and on 13 News Now at 5, reporter Mike Gooding will have reaction from a local political analyst.
Breaking news out of Virginia Beach. The police department has issued search warrants related to a deadly pit bull attack. It happened on May 31st in the Pembroke Manor area. Police say this dog right here mauled and killed a 90-year-old woman. The victim's family had just adopted the pit bull named Blue from Forever Home Rehabilitation Center. The adoption was on the same day as the attack, and we have a crew digging into the latest developments in the story. We'll have updates on air and online. All right, now we need to talk about the weather. The temperatures are way below normal for this time of the year.
Yeah, typically in June we're tracking a potential record high. What about a potential record low here, Jeff?
Well, we weren't that far from it. We have one, well, we have normal highs, record highs, record lows. We have something odd called the record low maximum, meaning the coldest afternoon, basically. Okay. The coldest high temperature we've ever seen.
I got my jacket today.
I know. It'll be a quiz on this later. And we were not all that far away from it. So lower to mid 60s a lot of the day. We eventually topped out most spots in the mid 60s. And that is about as cool as it gets this time of year. Meanwhile, a lot of low clouds out there, but it is starting to break up. That shot that we showed, in fact, let me go back to it. Look at a little bit, a minute ago, there was some sunshine when I showed this, and there are definitely some blue areas peeking through up here in Hampton. That's our sky view up there. Nothing on radar, though, even though, look at the beach. It really looks overcast there. But in general, see the trend? We go from overcast to partly cloudy to even mainly clear by late this evening as that line continues of drying to move in from the west. And temperatures won't fall a whole lot. They're going to gradually fall back down through the lower 60s. And that just gives you an idea that when they don't fall that quickly overnight, you know you're in for a little bit of a warm up most times. And that's certainly the case for tomorrow. So when I come back, we will be talking about a heat wave, the first one of 2017. Let you know how hot it gets and then how long it lasts.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. New information on the search for a missing Norfolk mother. Sadly, the family tells us police are now looking for Rashanda Gerald's body. She disappeared back in January. Her family is speaking only to 13 News Now about the case. They met with our reporter, Stephen Graves. You've been following this case for several months, Stephen.
Yeah, Regina, 5 months of searching for answers. Tonight, court documents reveal an in-depth investigation that surrounds one man. Family members say that man is Rashanda's ex, who was previously engaged to her. Now, here's the deal. Paperwork says the investigation looks into whether the two were together before the mother of 3 vanished. When a detective questioned the man, search warrants say his story didn't line up. Documents say he told authorities he had sex at a car wash with Rashanda, then dropped her off at Lincoln Street and Onley Road, but cell phone pings prove different. So authorities want phone records, even information into an email. Warrants say the man told detectives he did not harm the mother or have anything to do with her disappearance. Family exclusively tells 13 News Now they know different, and the focus has turned to finding the mom's remains.
We still have a lot of questions. How do we plan a memorial without a body? You know, how do we go on without?
Just bring my baby back.
Yeah, we just want her home.
Bring my baby.
Now, it's important to note police say there have been no arrests yet, but the family isn't giving up. I asked them about that troubled relationship and also hear shocking evidence of a hatchet found during the investigation that warrants say tested positive for traces of blood. Hear the reaction tonight on 13 News Now at 5. Reporting, I'm Stephen Graves, 13 News Now.
There's been an arrest in the death of a 70-year-old Portsmouth man. Franklin Lane III is charged with second-degree murder. Police say he shot and killed John Nunemaker on Chippewa Trail overnight. Reporter Chanu Her is digging deeper into this case. And Chanu, police say this all started with a fight.
Well, that's right, Jana. Dispatchers say reports of a domestic dispute and gunshots came in just after midnight. When police got to the house, they found John Nunemaker shot in the head. He never made it to the hospital. Court documents detail an abusive relationship between 70-year-old John Nunemaker and his wife, Jay. In one arrest warrant, Jay Nunemaker accuses her husband of pushing her down, then punching her several times in the face after the two argued over money. He also told her if she told anyone about the incident, he'd kill her. But Jay is accused by John in a different arrest warrant, saying that she clawed him and that she had been seen with a convicted murderer who was just released giving him money. John said in the warrant he was scared that Jay was trying to harm him. A neighbor says the couple has lived in that neighborhood for about 10 years.
That person is not normal. That is not normal. You know, you don't want to get near him. His wife seems like a very nice lady. She really does.
That same neighbor says the couple had friends come down to put security cameras around the home a few weeks ago. We were in that neighborhood earlier today. We saw about 3 or 4 cameras around the house. At 5 o'clock, we're digging into the background of the suspect. You'll hear more about his criminal past. Shinhu Hurt, 13 News Now.